Saturday marks President Trump's 100th day in office. Joining us now, Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief of The Hill, and Tim Carney, commentary editor at The Washington Examiner. Gentlemen, 100 days, 98, 100 counting. Bob, we know governing is a lot harder than running for president. I think a lot of people might not realize that. But since taking office, President Trump has been softening his position on some issues. He was very vocal about on the campaign trail, like NAFTA, which we saw today, and notably the wall. Can we expect more of that, do you think?
I think so. I mean, he's flexible, but I do think he's going to have to get some wall funding at some point. That's very important to him. Congressional leaders on the Republican side, it's not that important to them. So it's not going to be as part of this appropriations battle, but it will be, I think, coming down the road. I think that, Trump changes positions sometimes on positions. He just wants to get a deal. I think he struggled early out of the gate, but he's learning about Washington, and I think recently it's gotten a little bit of momentum.
Tim, is this going to hurt his base if he comes off of his campaign promises a little bit?
In very small amounts, and the fact is, one of the things we learned, especially as DC-centric people who think about policy, we learned that the base out there is not really that policy-focused, and that if they see him battling the press, that when Sean Spicer goes out there for his briefings and attacks reporters every day,
they're like, yeah!
Yeah, and when Trump is basically engaged in war with Washington is how they see it, even if we think, wait, he just sold out to, this lobby or that, they're seeing him waging war with Washington. That's what they sent him here to do. The latest poll that you just saw, Washington Post, ABC, 96% of his voters said that they would vote for him again if he came on the ballot again.
He's not losing that base. When I had a lunch with him, he said he could. He's doing a lot of stuff, and those people stay with him. Bob, a Fox News poll shows more voters, 37 to 25%, think his policies are helping the economy, not hurting it. And we heard Mick Mulvaney earlier say to me that the president has given optimism to the economy. Are President Trump's policies helping the economy?
I think it's more that he talks up the economy, and President Obama sometimes would talk down the economy, worried about the liberal base saying the economy was doing well. I think Trump actually talks it up, and we've seen that effect on the stock market. Now, the stock market also did well under President Obama, but I think it's less his policies and just his mannerisms of saying, hey, we're getting there, we're improving, and if he is able to improve the economy, he'll get a second term.
Tim, very interesting, and I think taxes have a lot to do with this. Tax reform plan cuts the corporate tax rate. He said it's going to be the biggest in U.S. history. It simplifies the tax code for you and me. Sounds great. It was purposely vague, Mulvaney said earlier, and they didn't release a lot of details. So they wanted to do it so they could just start the conversation. Is that a lesson learned from healthcare?
It could be. It could be that they hadn't done their homework and they came up on a 100 days deadline. But it's also true that from healthcare, what happened was you had sort of Paul Ryan and the White House craft a complex bill, and members felt like it was being shoved on
their throats,
And they said, oh, well, we took your input, but the members didn't have a say in the crafting of it. And I think that's saying, look, 15% corporate tax rate, reduction of the number of individual brackets, getting rid of a lot of the loopholes, that is a framework, and then let's go from there, allows for the sort of collaborative process, which could get possibly the buy-in from all these members. On the other hand, tax reform has proven elusive, one of the hardest things to pull off.
Ever in Washington, you're right. Well, our political duo, thank you so much, Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief of The Hill, Tim Carney, commentary editor with The Washington Examiner.